So, let's do a quick introduction to Excel macros. The first thing we're going to do is to create a new blank Excel worksheet. Then we're going to save it and rename it to test. We'll use that for our first code example. Before we hit save, first let's make sure we save our workbook as a XLSM and not the standard XLSX. A XLSM is a macro-enabled workbook. We can still use macros and VBA in a standard XLSX workbook, but Excel will not keep any changes or code we make to any code or macro. I'm just going to save this to a temporary folder on my desktop. You might already be acquainted with Excel macros, but we'll make a small example just for demonstration purposes. I'm going to write a sequence of numbers in a column. So, what if we wanted to get the sum of this column? Well, we can just click another cell and write equal sum, and then select the whole column. Clicking enter will now give us the sum for all the numbers in that column. Quite simple and something anyone who's handled Excel probably knows how to do. But what if we want to automate this process, with a few added bells and whistles? That's where macros come in. With a macro we can make these tiresome tasks as easy as pressing a button. Literally. Let's clear this sum cell. Then, we're going to navigate to the Developer tab in our top ribbon. This tab has a lot of things, but we'll only use a few of them. Let's record a macro to do our sum operation and a bit more. First, I'm going to click Record Macro and I'm going to name it just Sum. We could add a shortcut key to it and a description, but these are secondary, and we won't be using this method to record most macros along the course. I am, however, going to save it on this workbook. This means that this macro will be attached to this workbook only. If we saved it on the personal workbook, we'd have access to it from every other workbook we have, though that won't really be the focus of this course. So, let's click OK, and this will start recording our macro, which will be a sequence of actions that will now be translated automatically into VBA code. Let's first write sum into a cell. This one will do, it doesn't really matter. Now let's write our sum expression into the cell below. And just to top it off, let's put a border around these cells and some color just to look nice. Now that everything is done, let's go back to our Developer tab and click Stop Recording. And that's it. We've successfully recorded a macro. To test it out, let's erase what we did once again like so. And now let's click the Macros button and we can see our sum macro has been saved here. Let's run our macro by clicking Run. And, as you can see, the macro has replicated our actions. Now, let's check the code that this macro generated. Let's click View Code. This opens the VBA window. There are a lot of things here that we'll explore later, but for now we can look at the left panel that has a list of Excel objects but also a folder for modules. Modules are just a sort of container that holds VBA code. We can see that we already have a module here. When we create a macro in a workbook, Excel automatically creates a new module to output the macro code if you don't already have an existing module. VBA has several types of modules. Standard modules like this are used to store general code. User form modules are used to define Windows style forms that can be customized to our liking. We'll use these later. Worksheet and workbook modules that handle mostly events in the context of a worksheet and workbook respectively. Finally, class modules are used to store class objects for object-oriented programming, though these fall a bit outside the scope of this course, and they need some prior knowledge to be discussed, so we won't be covering them. Let's click on the module Excel created for us. As you can see, our actions were translated into VBA code and saved to a function with the name we provided. We can take a cursory look at the code, but it's a bit dense and we could make it more efficient. In any case, we can see that the code selects the specified cell, writes sum, then selects another cell, sets a formula, and so on. The code that sets borders is particularly extensive without any need for it, but that's what you get with automatically generated code. We'll make something a bit more interesting and organized in the next steps.